Governments should be afraid of their people. This was a phrase made popular by a movie called V for Vendetta. Now, this is the second launch of the series, the V Nation, which will actually be a program to inform the masses of the real world, what is actually going on. Now, in order to do that, certain things have to be covered first. Certain myths. Now, there will be guests allowed on here from time to time. There's at least 2 individuals I would like to have on here. One of which I've spoken with some of these topics about before. He's actually a bit more knowledgeable on some of it than I am. He can, give like dates and times and stuff like that. I'm doing the hosting because, well, I feel like I can simplify it for the the modern man. Now, first of all, some of the things that we will cover for the V Nation program: Illuminati, Freemasons, Zionism, the corporate world, who really runs the world, and things of this nature. Now, of course, that's going to include other things like the Rothschild family and their role in a lot of the stuff that's going on. But ultimately, those are the primary topics, though. And each one is very, very extensive, very massive topics, actually. Now, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions. You feel free to send me a message, ask me whatever you want to ask. They say that the best place to begin is the beginning. I disagree. In this particular case, that's not true. Because if we start at the beginning, people are going to be confused. They're going to wonder, how the hell does that tie into what's going on now? That's why the V Nation program is important, because it ties into what is going on now. Yes, contrary to what all of you might think, this does actually affect you. Now, how? Almost everybody has a bank account. Almost everybody buys from some sort of corporation. You can't actually get food for your family unless you answer to a corporation one way or another. Even if you're a farmer, you still have to answer to organizations like Monsanto. You still have to answer to organizations like the Food and Drug Administration, who's headed currently by a former vice president of Monsanto. Most people have credit cards or some form of. All of that ties in to what we're going to talk about on here. Now, right now, there is in the world a kickback going on, a movement. Anonymous is the biggest one. A lot of people are supporters of them. They love them. I know that I'm still a bit hesitant personally, but so far I like what they've done. I like what they have to say. But the reason that things like this have popped up, like Anonymous, groups like Occupy in 2011, the Tea Party when it first came out, is because people are scrounging by. In a land of plenty, people are scrounging by. And anybody that's not rich, they know that this is a problem. This is insanity. And if you really think about it, I mean, hard think about it, or simply think about it, rather, you'll realize what the issue is. In the times of our forefathers, okay, when they wanted water, okay, and they needed regular running water for their cattle, for themselves, whatever, they dug a well, or they created an irrigation system. Now, if you want water in this country and most countries, including countries in the third world, like Africa or the Middle East, you have to pay some sort of corporation for that water. If you want food and you decide you're tired of going to the grocery store, you want to start growing your own food, well, you could actually be arrested for growing your own food. You can be arrested for not following certain guidelines by the Food and Drug Administration. Then the seeds that you get to plant your own food are controlled primarily by Monsanto. That's right, a single organization controls Monsanto. Now, I know some of you out there are thinking, well, I'm informed. You don't understand, Vincent. I'm informed. I watch the news, not just one. I watch all of them. I watch a myriad of different news channels. Let me tell you something, okay? Unless you are watching the underground news, okay, like Real News, and that's the name of it, Real News, or some of these others that are similar to that, then you're being spoon-fed. Okay? I'll give you an example. You ever wonder why, no matter what Israel does, no matter what they do, it does not matter. Even when people like Bush, people like John McCain, people like Donald Trump, even when these people, these hard right-wing people, are saying, no, I'm sorry, what Israel is doing is wrong, even then, Fox News still is backing Israel in, whatever their particular action is. It doesn't matter what they do, Fox News will back them. Why? It's not because they're a massive supporter of Israel. That's not it. These people are told what to do. Granted, some of them might be blind right-wing Zionist, but it's a really funny coincidence that Rupert Murdoch, the owner of Fox, the Fox Corporation, which in turn owns Fox News, is in fact a business partner with Jacob Rothschild, and they own together a company, energy company, in Israel. Yeah. Sorry. Now I'm sure, of course, on top of this, you probably don't realize that out of all the different newspapers, all the different channels, all the different organizations that you supposedly have for news, you don't realize that all of them, with the exception of like the underground independent websites and channels that are popping up via YouTube, are owned by 6 companies. See, this is how some of it affects directly with what's going on right now. The bailout, 2008. Well, actually it was 2009. The collapse was 2008 and into 2009. But anyway, the government bailout for the major corporations, the corporate welfare, if you will. Why was the government so interested in protecting these companies? 2 words: Federal Reserve. Now, I know that some of you know what I'm talking about, and some of you are new to this concept, rather the history of what it is. So, for the sake of clarity, I'm going to take this slow. Okay? The Federal Reserve was created roughly around the 20s, give or take. And they were created by a few massively rich families who said, look, we will help raise the economy back up. Carnegie is one of the names, actually. Rockefeller is another name. They said, we will, J.P. Morgan. They said, we will help to raise the economy up, but we need control of the finances. And I know that's not exactly what they said, but I'm paraphrasing here, so work with me. The government agreed to this. Now, these individuals that control this, okay, all of them have ties, and again, don't take my word for this. Don't do that. Go up and look what I'm saying. Write it down. Look up what I'm talking about here. All of them, if you trace the line back, you follow the money, you follow where their loyalties lie, all of them are tied to Zionism. Am I an anti-Zionist? Yes, I'm an anti-Zionist. Am I an anti-Jew? Am I an anti-Semite? No. All right, first of all, I'm not anti-Jewish. I believe everyone should practice what they want, do what they want to do, and Allah will hold us all accountable on the Day of Judgment. But I am anti-Zionist. I am against those that believe that Israel still has this right to this land. That's insanity. If anybody else did this, then there would be a shit fit. But what can I say? It was well organized. I'm digressing though. I'm gonna move to that point again in a minute though. All of them have direct ties to Zionism. Okay? Let's say for the moment that's a really interesting coincidence. Alright. In the... Someone correct me here because I'm sure I'm going to say this wrong. In the 1970s or so, JFK decided to fight the Federal Reserve. One of the youngest presidents we've ever had, first Catholic president, and only Catholic president, decided to fight the Federal Reserve. He was going to put the money back in the control of the government. He removed the power of the Federal Reserve, which is basically a cartel of banks. A few months later, he was dead. I'm not saying that they killed him, but you have to admit that's a fucked up coincidence. Now, Zionism. How does that come in? How does that come into the daily life? Better yet, backing up, how does the bank's control of the Federal Reserve affect you? Well, these singular families say, this is who's getting money, and these are who is not. Okay? No one gets money unless the Federal Reserve says they're going to. That's just the way it is. Now, imagine for a minute, there are major corporations, they have massive ties to the few large families that are directly connected to the Federal Reserve. JP Morgan, Rockefeller, and Carnegie. And so that they have ties to these people. Well then, when the government says, okay, we can solve the financial crisis, we just have to crack down on the corporations so that they actually pay the same percentage of tax that the average taxpayer is paying. You see, individuals like you and me, hardworking individuals who go to work every day, work at a factory, fast food restaurant, whatever, okay? Those of us that are paying our taxes, the average American, the poor American, middle class and lower, we're paying 15%, 10 to 15%, okay? And I'm probably actually being nice on that, because I'm not counting the illegal income tax. But while we pay that, most of the corporations in the U.S., the major corporations, I'm not saying all companies are evil, that's stupid, but these super companies, if you will, some of the major banks, Bank of America, JP Morgan, Chase Manhattan, Walmart, they pay between 1 and 5%. Yep. Now, they get away with that though, because they know that the people running the show, who are with the purse, if you will, is not the government. It's the Federal Reserve. You control the money, you control it all. That's why originally in the Constitution, the organization that was supposed to have control of the money in the U.S. was Congress, which is the House of Representatives and the Senate. This is what's going on. This is a taste of how you are being manipulated. You are being taken advantage of. The money is being filtered. Particular families are being given the wealth, while the rest of us are lucky if we even get close to it. Even get close. And even then, we have to take the one knee approach and kiss that ass. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but personally, when I read the Constitution, the many times I've read the Constitution, when I read some of the quotes by George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and some of these others, that really was not what they were looking for. That was not the overall objective. Now, I'm not going to get into this right now, but I'm going to say this. The America that you were taught in school is not the America that is. The America that you were taught that the forefathers created is not what they had in mind. Fact. Now, I see that the time's getting close to about 20 minutes, and that's what I'm going to try and keep it at after this particular show, this particular episode, I might give it to about 30 minutes. I welcome all questions and queries. They'll be taken into consideration. They might not be put in the next episode, but I will acknowledge them. I will let you know I've heard from you, and I will be speaking about them. But obviously I have to keep on a theme base. The theme of this particular episode being just an introduction to the concepts, so that people who are new to this are not overwhelmed. Now, before I sign off, remember, I'm calling this the V Nation. Not because my name is Vincent. Not because of some sort of fascination with Anonymous or something like that. But because of the overall backlying concept behind the movie V for Vendetta, which was that the people have the power. And no matter which way you want to look at it, the people do have the power. We have the power to fight the corporations. We have the power to fight the major banking system. We have the power to fight Zionism. We have the power to fight oppression against tyranny. We have power to fight corrupt politicians and failed government systems. We have that power because, frankly, we outnumber them. We are what makes them exist. So, this is V Nation. Peace out.